Philippians chapter 4, verses 8 and 9 are scriptures that we often read, but we don't often apply these things to our lives. The Apostle Paul says here, "Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honorable, whatsoever things are right, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever is lovely, whatsoever is of good repute, if there is any excellence, and if anything worthy of praise, dwell on these things. The things you have learned and received and heard and seen in me, practice these things, and the God of peace will be with you." It's important to take each one of these things and consider what they truly mean. To think of whatever is true means things that are honest, things that are genuine, that are real. Young people today will talk about somebody being fake. As Christians, we ought to be real, and we ought to think about things that are truly genuine and honest. We ought to think about things that are honorable. The word here means that which is reputable. Is this a good thing, a reputable thing? Whatsoever things are right, this is what is fair and just. Whatsoever things are pure versus that which is impure. Whatsoever things are lovely, that is, things that are dear to us, things that are gracious. We ought to be thinking about those things. Whatever is of good repute, that is what is commendable, what should be uplifted and shared. If there is anything excellent, if anything worthy of praise, worthy of recognition, then think on these things. And I like the New American Standard Translation here, not to just think on them, but to dwell on them. And that's why I said maybe we should take this and make a list of these things, and daily we ought to be checking off this list to make sure our hearts are right with God, not just to check the list, but to make sure that the inward man is truly dwelling on the things that will ultimately bring peace from God. Paul says that thinking on these things, dwelling on these things in every aspect of our lives will bring the peace of God into our lives. I've talked to many people who struggle with peace in their life. And oftentimes it's because they're not thinking about the right things. Because what we think, we often act on. And so if we're thinking on evil things, we often act on evil things. But if we think on these things, the peace of God will be with us.